Welcome to Bubba Rob's Carnivore Journey. Hello everybody, it's Bubba Rob. How's it going? Look at this, I got my Irish hat on. My mom bought that for me years ago, and you know, my fat head almost fits it now. Yeah, so I thought I'd change up the greasy old ball cap. I want to seem a little bit more sophisticated than normal, I guess. I don't know. What the hell? First of all, I was just watching Carnivore Scott's video, and you know, I really like the positivity that guy is pushing out. Yeah, it's pretty good. You know, he's kind of like the cheerleader, becoming the carnivore cheerleader. No pun intended, but you know, that's pretty. You know, that's really important to push that out there. The whole positivity and have some joy in this life, and making sure that people are feeling good and giving some positive reaffirmations. I try and do the same. But you know, it kind of is what it is, and some people accept it, some people don't. It is what it is. But the more we can put it out there, the better it is. You know, you want good karma. And if you want to know what karma is the manifestation of our thoughts. So if we continually, or as much as possible, think in a positive manner and wish good things and good things to happen to ourselves and to have good people in our lives, eventually that'll happen, because you're willing upon yourself good things to happen. I mean, it's like your diet. Nothing good can come out of you if nothing good goes into you. Right? It just is what it is. It's pretty simple. But a little bit about my carnivore journey this morning. You know, I woke up. I was kind of tired, but you know, I managed to sleep all the way till 5:30 this morning, which is a kind of a big deal for me. So that means whatever the old guy problem was that I was having seems to be getting better. So that's a positive direction. Got up and made sure the dishes were done. So when my son got up to go to work, that you know, he was able to make his food clear, you know, like easy, and get himself off to work, which was good. But I asked him if he wanted me to get up and do that for him, but he said no, it's okay. He said enjoy a little bit of rest, so I did. So it's kind of funny. I wasn't sure what to do today because I was supposed to be working, and due to certain circumstances which were beyond my control yesterday, we weren't able to start the job. But that's just kind of what happens in life. And it's kind of why I'm going to talk about it, because for some unknown reason, I don't know why, maybe it's just because I'm getting better and this channel is making me more accountable, which does affect your diet and your food choices. So to me, what I'm going to talk about is far more important of you know, knowing what to eat, because it's your brain. Your brain controls a lot about your actions, right? But because I was really looking forward to getting the machine working, so I was a little bit down yesterday. But for some reason, when I woke up, I got those dishes done and stuff, and I laid down. I was kind of thinking, excuse me for yawning, this is what kind of gets me in trouble, is if I'm overthinking too much. But this real feeling of joy actually came over me. And what I focused on was, without really knowing, you know, exactly how my day was going to go today, and I started thinking, well, you know, I really got to treat this YouTube thing more like a job. That's one thing. So that was taking my mind off of it, and I've got some online training I got to do for a different type of contract, and so I'm going to get to that this afternoon. But the joy really came from was actually just me changing my thinking. Because, you know, suffering from the whole PTSD thing from what I used to do, it's very, very easy to get into a negative thought and really, how would you say it, self-destruct or look for things to sabotage yourself, which I can be pretty good at. And it's not good. Because, you know, the whole PTSD thing, and when things happen that aren't going your way, it's pretty easy to trigger those thoughts. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, because I've put the work in on myself, and I do those things, and the reading and the videos and the counseling, whatever it is, I'm able to deal with things quite a bit better than I used to, because of my thought process. It isn't that anything's changed as far as what happens in daily life. But the only thing that changes is how I deal with it and how I behave in my thought process. So that's that. I got to pat myself on the back on that one, not to be narcissist or anything. But, you know, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys an example. Now, if you don't like tough stories, or, you know, this story I'm going to tell might actually cause somebody to trigger, but I'm going to let you know on something that kind of goes through my head sometimes. It's some of the things I've seen. And, you know, feel free to shut this off if it's something you can't really deal with. I wouldn't begrudge anybody on it. But, you know, when my daughter was here and my son, and we're talking about things and stuff, and I'm not sure if my daughter was present or just my son. And I was I had this thought going through the head, and they asked me, they said, you know, Papa, what's going on? Like, you know, what's kind of bothering you? And for whatever reason, I was reflecting on an incident that happened many years ago. And what it was is, when I was working at the jail, there was this one particular inmate in my unit, very quiet, polite, had some issues, but, you know, kind of kept to himself. So I go away for a couple of weeks, and I come back, and the other inmates told me that he went nuts. I said, what do you mean he went nuts? They said, well, he started doing all these strange things. So, you know, I went down and saw him in observation and had a chat with it. And I ended up working down there a bit because of my seniority level, and they needed somebody to kind of have to deal with him. And then he ended up in the hospital, and because the most senior guy on my shift, on the night shift, couldn't deal with him, I kept going. I kept having to go, which was fine. I didn't really care. But what the problem was with this young fellow, he had suffered lots of organic brain damage from substance abuse, gas hoofing, which is when they put gas or like glue in a plastic bag and over the head and suck it in to get high. And he lived on the streets quite a bit, and he actually ended up with full-blown AIDS, hepatitis B and C. And not if that's not bad enough to deal with when you're dealing with somebody, especially when you got I think it was before my son was born, so my daughter was quite small. And, you know, you go to a job like that, and, you know, you got these diseases and infections going around, you know, it kind of gives you a little bit of worry about when you gotta go home and you got a young family, right? And what made this particularly bad was he started eating himself. Yeah, you heard it. This fellow started eating himself. How bent is that? absolutely bent. And when he was in the hospital, I guess they were skin grafting his arms because he'd chew right into you know, when you're on the other side of your elbow on your inner arm there, and he was so whacked. The guy who was senior to me had to stop going there. He hated him so much, you know, he'd actually urinate on the staff member, which is absolutely disgusting, you know, with that type of health issue. So, you know, that's a little bit of worry when you hear about that and you're going to deal with somebody, right? But luckily, I didn't have that issue with him. But when I got off of nights and he was in observation, I ended up having to go down there for some reason. And the fellow that was working in there, and the nurse of the institution was there at the time. And the inmate says to me, "Mr. Baker, how are you doing? How are you doing?" And I said, "Fine, how are you doing?" He says, "Oh, I got a lot of problems. I got a lot of problems." I said, "What's the matter?" He says, "There's something wrong with my arms." So I said, "Well, let me have a look." He opened up his arms. He chewed right through his flesh, right to the joint. And I could see right into the joint. And I almost huffed. Like, I literally could not eat for 2 or 3 days after seeing that. And every once in a while, that comes back to me. Like, that's a pretty horrific thing to see. So right away, I went from 0 to 100, and I was pissed, and I was so angry at that nurse letting him walk around like that. And me and her got into it, and she started using the F-bombs on me, and we're F-bombing back and forth because I told her, I said, "How is a member of healthcare that you can allow this to happen when I got to go home to my family?" Like, it was terrible, absolutely terrible. She says, "Well, we've done so many skin grafts, we can't, you know, he just keeps eating it. What do you suggest we do?" So I said, and this idea came to me. And the fellow was, sorry about that, my phone overheated. But anyways, I got into it with the nurse, and, you know, I said, "How can a member of healthcare let somebody go around like that when all our house is at risk?" And he goes, "And have you got a better idea of something to do?" And poof, this light bulb goes off. And the guy I was working with, and because I was on nights in there, I said to him, I said, "Hey, do we still have that roll of duct tape in the drawer?" He goes, "Yeah, I think so." So I go to the nurse, I said, "I want you to fill up those holes with gauze, and we're going to duct tape it." And, you know, sure enough, we duct taped his arms like it was like a cast. And you know what happened? He thanked me. He cried. The inmate cried. He says, "Thank you so much for taking my problem away. Now I can't do anything about it." Maybe they should have put his arms in a cast for it to heal. I don't know. I mean, you know, that incident has always stayed with me, and it's probably going to stay with me till I die. But what I do now, especially with the stoicism, is I can deal with it much better, and it doesn't bother me as much. But, you know, things like that, and I'll tell more stories here from time to time, because the reason I'll do that, because we all have our trauma, and it's all different degrees of it, and we all think that I guess our trauma is kind of paramount, but what it is we can have all these things that happen to us, and it's where our mind goes with it, because whatever has happened, it's done, right? We need to we need to deal with things better. And that's why I keep talking about why stoicism for myself is so important on this journey. Because if we were all functioning on all cylinders, we wouldn't be on the journey. Simple. It's just common sense, right? I mean, healthcare professionals, first responders, vets. I mean, your upbringing, there's all sorts of things that are triggers that cause problems, right? So if there's one takeaway from my channel, is I hope everybody puts the work in between the ears with the diet. The diet's going to help with that work because it's maximizing your physical skill set in dealing with issues. That is just my opinion. I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a medical professional. That's just my opinion. And it only comes from hard work, trials, being the donkey that keeps running his head into the concrete wall over and over and over and over again, expecting different results. It doesn't work. You got to be willing to make a change, think out of the box, and when things get stale and you get stuck somewhere in your journey, you got to make at least some sort of small incremental change for progress. Okay? Anyways, I love you all. Thanks again, Scott, for the kind comments. You're doing great. And I hope everybody out there is doing well. And you guys take care. Oh, yeah. Please like, share, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. But now it's time for me to say to everybody, you ready? To be a good person, a good stoic, a good carnivore, good biker, good blues person, whatever your good is, remember, be kind. That's so important. Be kind to yourself. Love you all. Bubba Rob signing out. You guys all have a great day. Bye-bye.